So apparently the hot goss, the breaking news of the day that everybody is absolutely and rightly incensed about is the fact that Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries had a secret meeting with Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Finish the Job in Gaza Kushner. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what the hell Hakeem Jeffries and the Democratic establishment were thinking. Let's talk about the public outrage in response to this story, and then the spin, the damage control that is being done very, very quickly. I have no idea how they didn't anticipate that would be a thing. And then let's talk about what this means for the Trump regime. Why is it that Donald Trump's son-in-law sought out this meeting, agreed to have this meeting? What does it mean for them? And then in the context of all of that, I think it would be really good for all of us to remember that we should be at this point in time so far beyond, fool me once or fool me twice. We should understand what the corporate controlled, billionaire controlled, AIPAC controlled Democratic establishment is doing. We should not be surprised. We cannot expect a tiger to change their stripes. And we also should know that these fuckers aren't working for us. Let's see if you bleep that, YouTube, or if I can get it through. The butt cheeks of establishment politics in both parties are not working for us, the people. We don't have representation in government through folks like Hakeem Jeffries or anybody in the Republican Party or Chuck Schumer. All of the folks who are beholden to the dark money, the Epstein class, they don't represent us. They don't represent our interests. And we should all be so unbelievably aware of that by now. Like, there's part of me, right? When I read this story this morning in the New York Times, I was like, I should have anticipated that meeting was going to happen, right? Like, I feel a little bit foolish that I did not in advance expect that meeting to have already been scheduled or taken place, right? None of us should be caught off guard by this. And I said this way back in March of last year when we saw Chuck Schumer, right? Making moves that made it very clear that he was not going to have a spine. He was not going to act as part of the resistance against fascism, but instead was going to put up like a poor performance, right? It was his resistance was entirely performative. I've said, like, I think we should have a big tent resistance against fascism, but everybody under that tent has to actually be our ally. Everybody under that tent actually has to be allied in trying to stop the fascists. Otherwise, what the fuck are they doing under our tent? So the piece that had everybody in a tizzy this morning came out in the New York Times. It is by, not surprisingly, Maggie Haberman and Annie Carney. And it talks about how the leader of the Democratic Party in the United States House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, had a private meeting with Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who has no official role in the United States government. I will always remind folks that at the end of Donald Trump's first term, Jared Kushner got $2 billion from Saudi Arabia in a deal that wasn't investigated by the Democrats. He got away with all of that. The corruption in Trump's first term was like right there. 4 years of Joe Biden, and we did fuck all about it. Also, Jared Kushner is like besties with Bibi Netanyahu. Remember, war criminal Bibi Netanyahu, who was allowed to come to the United States, stayed with Jared Kushner while he was here. And remember, Jared Kushner wants to flatten what is left of Gaza and turn it into a luxury resort. Sounds a lot like what he wants to do in Albania, right? Everything is about creating luxury resorts / military bases for it's not real.
For Israel, we think this is a win-win situation because if Hamas actually gives over the weapons and the tunnels, willingly over the next 60 to 90 days, that obviously would be the elimination of a huge security threat for Israel, almost an unthinkable achievement. And if they don't follow through now on their commitment, everyone will see that they're not genuine about peace, and then Israel will have a lot more support from the U.S. and others to go and finish the job.
Real estate developer Jared Kushner has no formal role in the United States government. And yet, because he's Donald Trump's son-in-law, he is treated like this. Which is, of course, why Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries met with Jared Kushner, not an official member of the United States government, to talk strategy after the midterms. Now, according to Haberman and Carney, the private get-together was described by one of the people, I think they had 5 sources, as a catch-up for Mr. Kushner and Mr. Jeffries. The two men have stayed in touch since they worked together on a criminal justice bill midway through Trump's first term. During the recent meeting, the pair discussed housing, immigration, and the high cost of living as potential areas of common ground. Remember last week, Jeffries said that he did not support abolishing ICE, even though a majority of Americans do, and overwhelmingly registered Democrats do. But he's going to talk with Jared Kushner about immigration. The story goes on to talk about how the focus of this meeting had a lot to do with affordability. Establishment Democrats, right, the Ezra Klein neoliberal Democrats, the controlled Democrats, continue to push this narrative that affordability is the priority going into the midterms and beyond. Even though we see progressive and DSA candidates who run on a campaign of ending corruption in government. Gosh, look how popular John Ossoff's speeches are. It's not even just like progressive and DSA candidates. It's a lot of middle of the road Democrats who are taking the temperature of the American people, who understand that anti-corruption investigations, prosecutions, high priority. Hakeem Jeffries has said he would not pursue impeachment for Donald Trump. I know he's kind of waffled on that a little bit, but also more progressive candidates have said that Medicare for all, abolishing ICE, ending spending billions of our tax dollars to fund Israel's genocidal war, those are the priorities, right? And also taxing billionaires, ending corruption, all of that are the things that the people want. The people are voting for candidates who push for those things. But Jeffries, no. It's this old kind of middle of the road centrist Democrat talking point of affordability. Which, yes, of course, everything is incredibly unaffordable under Donald Trump because he's wrecking everything. They're just trying to milk as much money out of the American taxpayer and into the coffers of the super rich as they possibly can, including Jared Kushner. Like, the affordability problem is not going to be solved by Donald Trump and the Republicans. To see this meeting taking place, to me, says that Hakeem Jeffries is just like, again, known quantity. You cannot collaborate with, you cannot find common ground with fascists. But like Schumer and Jeffries are not really opposed to what the Republicans are doing because it makes them, or they think it will make them, look even better. And it's interesting to see the way that other Democrats are responding because the backlash to the breaking news of this meeting happening was just like obvious, right? People know what Jared Kushner is and what he's doing in Albania, what he's trying to do in Palestine, what he's done in the United States government, and what he's done to facilitate Donald Trump working to dismantle democracy and to make everything unaffordable. And so the voters are pissed. Democrats are pissed over this. So we've seen this kind of damage control. It's interesting to see the way that other Democrats are responding. I mean, like, I don't think this is a problem. It's not going to stop us from rooting out corruption and getting reforms. Are you kidding me? The leader of the Democratic Party is like buddy with Jared Kushner.
That leader Jeffries and Jared Kushner met privately. The meeting was to discuss potential areas of common ground. This was according to 5 people with knowledge of the meeting. And its timing underscored that those around Mr. Trump were well aware of the likelihood of a Democratic-led House and trying to foster as much of a working relationship as possible before any change. What's your reaction to leader Jeffries taking a meeting with Jared Kushner? And do you think that a meeting around trying to work together is the message that Democrats should be taking into the November midterms, that they're going to try to work with this administration if you all do take back the majority?
Also, Jared Kushner does not work for the administration, just to throw that out there.
But although in all practical senses, he technically doesn't work for them, but he is leading some of Donald Trump's top initiatives right now.
Well, I think undoubtedly Jared Kushner will be a subject of Democratic investigations. While he is making huge investment deals in the Middle East, he is the president's Middle East envoy. Blatant conflict of interest. I think that meeting highlights the situation that we're in, where you might be investigating somebody one day, and then if the Trump administration is willing to work with us to bring down costs for the American people, we can partner with them to do that. The reality, I think, is Donald Trump's not interested in that. We saw that with the Road to Housing Act that will bring down housing costs. He couldn't even bring himself to pick up the pen to sign the bill. That's how little he cared. So I'm not optimistic that President Trump and his administration will want to do that. If they want to do that, great, let's do it.
So you don't take the meeting as a sign that Democrats are going to use kitty gloves on Jared Kushner?
Absolutely not. I promise you we will not use kitty gloves on Jared Kushner or anyone else involved in the corruption.
And it's wild to see publications like the Daily Beast try to say that Kushner and MAGA are afraid of Hakeem Jeffries. No, they're not. What's he going to do, you guys? What they're afraid of is the people having representation. What they're afraid of is democracy. And Jeffries and Schumer don't work for the American people. They're not afraid of them. They work for the same money that runs the Republican Party. So, like, No. Now, because there was so much backlash, I guess Don Lemon reached out to Jeffries' team and they issued a response. And I'd love to know what you think of it.
So I wanted to know what was going on, why the leader chose to meet with him. And so we went straight to the source. This is what they sent to us. This is straight from the leader's team, and it just says that basically it's a long thing to read. But basically he's saying that they met. He wanted to tell him that this my way or the highway thing isn't going to work. And I guess he wanted to shut it off, but they want affordability more than anything. That's their number one priority. And so that's what he says.
So I don't know. I guess I see this story as just confirmation that we need to continue to push for a progressive takeover of the Democratic Party. We need to continue to push for people power. We need to continue to push for representatives who will work for us and the reforms that we need, the investigations, the prosecutions, and the justice that we will need. Because the current leadership is never going to do that for us. This story for me is just confirmation that we the people are on the right track, and we cannot be dissuaded. We cannot be lulled into a false sense that the Democratic establishment will take care of us or protect us or work for us. Or we have to work for us, and we have to work to get actual representation for us, and it is us the people who will save us, not the elites in Congress.